Just a little while ago, we had an issue, right? We all knew we had an issue. Wasn't major. Could have been, right, if we would have let it fester for any period of time, but we fixed it within minutes.
Yeah.
And because somebody could pick up the phone, call us, immediately get it handled. I mean...
Welcome to MCT Podcast, episode 4 in the studio at the very least. We're sponsored by Dollop, as always. With
Pickleball Studio.
Yep.
There you go.
We are in the Pickleball Studio.
There you go.
We have
No, not Dollop yet. Nope, not yet.
Not yet.
Still,
No,
it's coming soon, though.
hasn't paid for his sponsorship.
Not yet, but it will. He will, though. He's got to come
take
up.
it back.
Exactly, take it back.
I hear he's a
Anyway,
nice guy. I hear he's a nice
Dollop?
guy. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, jury's still out.
It's the usual suspects today. We have Ryan, Chuck, Jonathan.
I almost forgot.
Wow.
He almost called him Dollop. He almost called him Dollop. I knew it was coming out. It was slipping out.
Him John, you know, just
John.
Yeah,
John.
exactly.
from the nicknames earlier, you know, Jonathanson. Yeah, but anyway, and I'm Nolan, and today we're going to talk about the realism of AI and how people interact with AI versus just having a transactional conversation.
Correct. We all thought maybe it would be a good topic for us to talk about. So, you know, we've discussed in other videos how we thought that customer service has dropped somewhat dramatically. And I first want to talk about that a little bit and why has customer service dropped? And a lot of people say it's dropped since COVID. And so why has that really dropped? And then how is AI either helping or hurting with that? And so I figured we figured it would be a good topic of conversation. So personally, I'll get started. Since COVID, I think customer satisfaction, customer service has dropped considerably. And I think there's a lot of different reasons. One, training is one of those. We talked about in our last session, how about, Casey was here and he talked about, COVID really hurt us really bad. And it was interesting enough, and I didn't think I shared this with you guys. I think it's fascinating, where I was talking to Leslie, the newest person in our company, and she's a doctor of education. And she says the same statements Casey made last time about COVID, how people during COVID didn't learn, right? And therefore they went through, and he was specifically talking about managers in the car business and how they were selling cars during COVID, then they became managers during COVID, and they never really learned how to train people. They never learned really how to do the management responsibilities, and now they're managers running stores, and they really don't know. She's saying the same thing is happening in the educational world, where there are a whole bunch of students out there that kind of got left behind, right? And I know we talked about that a few episodes back as well, but from being, not as smart as we used to be, right? This particular generation. Sorry, Nolan. Didn't mean to bring that up. I know it's a sore spot with you, but just a little bit. Of course, he did graduate from the University of Michigan. Maybe that explains it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm sorry, just kidding. To all those Michigan fans out there and Michigan alumni, I apologize. But anyway, especially after the scandal today in football. Whoa, big scandal today going on in football. I know you haven't been able to confirm that yet, but it's happening out there. So anyway, I digress. But so going back to I found it interesting how the educational world, some of the people are asking that same question: what happened? Through those 4 or 5 years we had COVID, or 3 years we had COVID, where people stopped learning. I'm going to transition that into that transactional, where it's interesting. In the car business in itself, there's so many things that have become more transactional rather than relational, right? And relational, is that the right word?
Yes.
It is, thank you. So, and therefore, I'm going to use service departments as an example, because we've dipped our toe into the service department a lot lately, and talk a little bit about when a customer calls a car dealership for service. And you listen to these either the AI and or people, and it's become real transactional. Whereas all I'm trying to do is get the appointment, get the customer in, and move on with life. But there's nothing extra going on with that interaction with the customer, where, what do customers really want from any business? And I'll open it up to you guys. I know what I think they want. I think they want somebody to care. I think they want somebody to go, hey, you're special. We want your business. You're home. You're coming to a family. And I think that's what people want. And they want it memorable. Even if it's a little transaction, they still want it memorable. But unfortunately, a lot of these companies out there have just kept it transactional. Just get the customer in, just get the customer in, get the customer in, right? And it just loses its, I don't know, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It just doesn't have the effect on
humanity in a sense, right?
Well, a little bit. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Loses some humanity, right? We're just, and not nobody, but people are not really presenting their company the way they should.
Mm-hmm.
Now, transition that into AI, there's no way that's going to be relational. You know, it's going to be a transaction. There's some companies out there trying to get to answer your phone via service, and you know, for service calls, answering your phone via AI, and it's transactional, which is not something we want to get to. That's why we believe in that human first, you know, interaction, and then AI should support it. So, jump in anytime you want, guys. What do you think?
Well, you jumped around between quite a few different topics.
I
there,
did.
so
I was all over the board,
yeah,
man. Let me tell you. Whew. I know.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, all related stuff. It's not like you were, coming out of left field there. But yeah, I mean, you talk about customer service getting bad or poor after COVID, right? Some degree is right. People being shut away for a year, 2 years, for people that actually followed along with lockdowns. Not everyone did, right? And in some cases, that seemed to. Yeah, exactly. And some people lost social skills during that time, right? Stopped seeing the value in it. There was more time and resources put into digital transactions, being able to like order food over, delivery apps, stuff like that. And that's going to, social skills, we call them that for a reason, right? They're skills. And like any skill, you got to keep up with it to be pretty good at it. If you don't, it starts to drop off a little bit. So a little bit of it was that, a little bit is people now seeing AI and going, oh, we can replace our customer service workforce with a robot and pay it less, right? And so there's a little bit of that too, right? So, I mean, where do you want us to start, I guess? I mean, do you want to go to the AI angle or just people?
I think let's go to the AI angle. We've talked quite a bit about AI, I think, and interesting way we want to replace our humans. But, you turn it around, and most people, when they call any business, one of the things that I think is a universal agreement is they don't like getting these phone trees. Press one and do this. Press two and get this. Press three and that. Because they seems like sometimes they get into this, verbal, in this roundabout.
Well,
and they never
if
get
you've
to where
got, I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot of times when I call a place, it's because I've exhausted all the options at my fingertips, all the obvious issues and problems, or at least I think I have, right? So I call and I get a phone tree, and they're like, okay, press one if you need sales. Press two if you need to talk to somebody about your account. Press three if you have a transaction issue. And I'm like, no, I've got a really weird, specific niche issue that I need to explain to somebody, and your basic phone tree won't cover it.
That's a good
And
point.
so that's infuriating, is that you're listing out all the potential problems and mine's not there. Right? So like, let me talk to somebody that can interpret my problem and help me find a solution.
I love it. Have you guys ever had this one? I just had this, by the way. That's why it's on. Well, they'll go all other dial and you push a button. And then it goes back to, well, if you explain to me one more time using the AI or the phone tree going, explain to me one more time, I'll try to get you the right. Wait a minute. I just told you it's something different. And they go put me back into the AI. And it's like, oh my God, it drives me crazy. So people wonder why service. Now, I got a question for you. What if everybody does it? Then the customer doesn't have an option.
Yeah.
Well, then someone else will just make a company out of being human, like as if it's like an old school burger joint. You just build your company around being friendly and human, and it will grow because people want that.
Because people want that.
So that's how demand hopefully works.
Well, but that's a good point, And the question is, I think owners out there of any business, we're in a lot in the car business, of course, but we're also in other verticals. But in the car business specifically, what do you really want as a dealer? And then you're the owner of a company, and so I know what I want. I want my people handled the best, most effectively possible. Get their questions answered. Get get all their needs taken care of in a very special way. I want every one of my customers to be really treated really, really well. We are around AI every day, guys. AI can't do that. It cannot replace a human. And, we've talked about that a lot. But when it comes to relational or transactional, it can pull off some transactional stuff, in my opinion, and also may not do it very well at times. But it can pull off of that. But if you really are looking to take your business and really take it to the next level, AI is not there yet to do it. You still need the human beings to talk about it, right? And really present that.
Yeah. What I like to look at on service is you can look at which of the calls are regular customers, and then you'll see they get through them a lot quicker because they already know all that stuff. They're regulars, like we are at O'Connor's, right?
Right.
They know our order. They know what drinks we're going to get, and they have it out. We were able to eat in 20 minutes even without our regular person because we know what we do regularly. But
Right.
when we have him, we could probably have gotten our food in under 20 minutes just because they know what we want, and they know the process that we usually like to go through, and they learned that. And AI is not going to learn that independently. Maybe it could in some circumstances, but it's not going to do it the way you want it, especially at the speed that you want it, and with the hospitality where they know you, not just your order, right?
No, that's a good point. I mean, why do we go back to that restaurant? Why does any customer go back? Because they feel comfortable there, right? People, you walk in, they get a smile. Hey, folks, welcome back. Thanks for coming in. That kind of stuff. When you leave it memorable for somebody, they will more likely come back and see you again. And if you do that and you make a mistake, which all companies do, and especially in a restaurant business, you've got so many different possibilities to mess up with a customer, right? Think about just the customer touch points throughout the whole process, right? You do one wrong and it hurts you. And so there's a lot to do. But if you're nice, you're friendly, you've welcomed them, you do all those, what we call relational things, you can make a mistake or two and people will forgive that. And they'll come back and see you. You won't lose them to somebody else. And that's a competitive, I don't care what business you're in, it's competitive. I mean, it's, if you talk about the restaurant industry, or the hospitality industry, or, car dealers, I mean, it's competitive. There's a dealership every 10 miles, right? And so it's and that's another franchise that you own. I think that's not to say that there's not a Toyota store next to a Honda store. That happens all the time. Chevy and Ford and all the other kind of stuff you have to do. So it's a very, very competitive market that you have to make sure you take it to the next level. So
I think to Nolan's point, having an industry or a common practice within an industry. So having the phone trees, it's becoming more and more common to have those kiosks at fast food places or Steak and Shake or whatever, where it's just you go in, you don't interact with anybody, you touch a screen to order, right? So what I'm thinking of is imagine, going to the restaurant we go to, going to O'Connor's, and you got a screen in front of you. It knows who you are, right? Just by data. Here's what you had last time. Do you want to reorder? Press a button. It gets brought to you, right? That's the baseline. There is no interaction. So to your point, if you make it a human experience and you have the warmth of, relational language and camaraderie, you can afford to have a few bumps and bruises if you don't do the right thing or say the right thing, right? Where the neutral is just, I want to order again. It comes to me.
and if it's wrong,
nothing.
then what?
Then it's a just absolutely negative experience. Like there should not be any issue because there's no human error involved, right?
Yeah.
There's still humans back in the kitchen,
Right.
Until they make robots.
For now.
real.
Right.
Yeah.
But from your perspective, it's like no one could have heard me wrong.
Right.
I didn't
no.
misspeak, right? This is right there on the screen. There should be no error. The people on the back see it on the screen. There should be no error. But what I'm saying is having the human element so easily increases or makes your experience better.
Enables
That
it
if
to
you
be
have if you have a few negative touch points, you can still salvage that relationship.
Yes.
Right. And so to Nolan's point, if you have a business owner who's like, okay, everyone in this industry is only doing AI, only doing phone trees, only doing automated things. If you have something that's incredibly human, there's a high likelihood that you're going to gain traction just because their customers can feel that warmth when they interact with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true.
And you know, there's something to be said as well if you're a regular somewhere, right? And this may apply to certain industries a little bit more than others, but if you're trying to like capture a customer for a long time, right? There's something to be said for having a well-trained staff that can make connections with their customers. Because I don't know if you guys have been, I'm sure you've been regulars somewhere, gotten to know some service worker somewhere or something, right? Where you may not be best friends, but you know them, you talk to them, right? Like I remember one time when I was going to school, there was this Taco Bell not that far away, and I would go to Taco Bell for lunch pretty frequently. You know, I had time between class. I'd run to Taco Bell stop. There was a woman there who I got to talking to, and who ran the drive-thru around the same time every day. So I'd come through, I'd see her just about every day. We would chat, got to talking to her, learn about her life, learn about her kids, right? something that's interesting about the human relationship is that every time you see somebody, something has happened to that person in the intervening time since you last saw them. Their life can change. Misfortunes can happen. Maybe, some great things. And whatever it is, then they have something new to talk about, some new experience to share. There's an evolution there. But the next time I talk to an AI, it has been, as far as the AI is aware, unless you inject some history, it was our first time ever interacting. There was no growth. There's no getting to know somebody. There's no humanity to it, right? And is super powerful and completely overlooked. So until you can really genuinely create, I think, a long-term relationship like that, you gotta have people.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And you made a good point, and that was a great point. And then the other point that you made, we hadn't chatted about, was that, I'm going to go back to the car business. And we see these companies out there trying to handle the phones, for the car dealers and doing all this kind of stuff. And they're in their mind, these other companies are saying, well, it's easier. You can save money. You can do this kind of stuff. But I think they forget to realize, especially because some of these other companies have never been in the industry, sort of like an ancillary. They're outside trying to make products for a certain industry, but they're not in it. They haven't lived it. And you made the great point of saying, wait a minute, this is any person out there, when they're buying a car, it's their second largest purchase they're going to make in their lifetime. Do you really want to do that with an AI? Do you really want to? And what message is it sending to the customer base when you go, I'm going to have AI handle at least the phone piece of it, which is ludicrous to me. I mean, if you think about it, because what message are you sending that customer? Your business isn't important enough to me so I can put a human and talk to you on your second largest purchase you're going to make in a lifetime. It beyond me why owners would consider that. And it's just crazy to me. So I think to me, that's why we do things, again, a little bit different here with the company, and that is we're always human first. And we take the AI and do what we can with it to make it better, make it a better experience, make it easier for the people that are actually at the dealership. So it's always human first for us, and you guys know that. So which is I'm excited about. Yeah. So
yep, try this one on for size.
Oh, let's hear this.
Yeah. Thank you for calling Real Estate 2. Which house are you looking for today?
Oh, you're going back down to the largest purchase.
Yeah.
Can you imagine trying to buy a house through an AI? And you say that someone's going to try it.
Oh yeah,
somebody's
Well,
going
yeah,
to
some
try
of the
it.
mortgage companies do that. It's not.
Oh, they do. Okay.
It's explicitly AI, but it's all automated.
Okay.
And you get the best rate. I'm thinking of one in particular. But then you try to get a hold of someone to explain something to you, or it says you need documentation. You can't figure out what
You
it
got
is.
Questions, you mean?
You can't
On
get
the
a hold
largest
of them.
purchase
Yeah,
you
exactly.
have, you have questions?
Exactly. You get the
Really?
best rate because they don't hire anybody, but you can't get your questions answered. And the 30-day closing becomes a 45, 60, 70-day closing. So, and I wanted to say too, it's not just customers. It's not just the people that you serve. It's also the people that work for you, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I recently watched a clip. I don't watch Undercover Boss, but it was like a clip. And
I love Undercover Boss.
yeah, and this guy goes into one of his stores. It's a pizza place, I think. And this one location does, it was somewhere between 20 and 30% of the sales of the entire
Group?
group.
Wow.
So he's like, what's working here? And it turns out the manager there was just an all-around people person, would buy her employees drinks out of her own pocket,
Wow.
One of the ladies there was, I think, a recovering alcoholic, and she got her into, these rehab classes or whatever, all out of her own pocket.
Yeah.
And essentially showing that the more that that leadership cares about these people, the better they're going to do at their job anyways, right? So there's an element where, yes, it's detrimental in the business-customer relationship, but then if you go the opposite way, don't replace your employees with AI and cultivate a really good relationship with your employees. That itself can lead to higher revenue because
Of course.
the employees feel taken care of. That gets passed down to the customer, right? If I walk into a pizza place and everyone's behind the counter is talking like family and having a really good time, I'm going to feel good, right? Just immediately.
Right.
If I walk in and everyone's just like on their
Hating
phones
the
or just like hate
job
their
and
job,
yeah.
it's like, okay, this is I'm just going to get my food and leave. But
And you may never go back
You may never go back.
because it wasn't memorable.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
So I just think, to your point, it's cheaper to replace your employees with AI. But if you actually invest in your employees,
But is it really then?
goes.
Like,
Right,
if
exactly.
you're not
exactly.
getting enough
On the
as
front
much-
end, maybe.
People
There's
look
a lot
at
of
that and
hidden
go,
costs.
well, see,
Right.
it's really interesting. And there's businesses out there, and I know this is going to, I don't want to pull any punches, but there are businesses out there that just try to cut themselves in a profit. Market goes down a little bit, whatever happens. So they cut expenses. Any monkey could do that. I look at, I look at a P&L and okay, well, that's more money that I want to spend. Okay, I'll cut. But at the end, it's not going to affect my bottom line all that much, right? It's the opposite thinking of let me approach it differently. Let me invest in my people. Let me do the right things. Let them have the freedom they want. Let them make, they're big people. They're grown-ups. They can make decisions. Let them make those decisions. And I don't have to hover. When you do those types of things, that's when your revenue really grows because it matters. Now I want to do an exercise.
Ooh. Okay.
It's an exercise we've done in classes a lot, and I don't think we've ever done it. So I wanted to try this. So, and we'll try to come up with different ones, okay? So I want you guys to think about a business, right, that you think provides tremendous customer service. Either you visited, it could be local, it could be a national, doesn't matter. Just give me a business that you think provided just tremendous customer service. And let's talk about what that was. So give it about a few seconds and think about it. I've got mine. Okay. You have one yet?
I have
think we all
a
have the
couple
same one.
options.
You have one? I've got
Yeah.
I've got several as well, but I don't think the ones that you guys are probably thinking about. So, Nolan, you want to start us off? What's the first
right.
one? What's the one you got?
So the one that I think would be the most common answer among across the country, I would say, is Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
So I was thinking too.
One we hear all the time when we're
Constantly.
doing classes. Chick-fil-A always comes up as one. So let's talk about a little bit of that. But before we go to Chick-fil-A, let's hear what did you have?
That was mine as
Yours
well.
is Chick-fil-A,
Yep.
Ryan?
I was gonna say Steam specifically, but Valve as a company does
Okay.
a fantastic job in the gaming space with customer service.
Really?
Nobody's better right now than they are.
That's fascinating. And mine, you're gonna maybe find this hard to believe. Mine is a local gas station,
Oh,
which is right up the street from where we're at. Well, not where we're at, right from our main office. And we'll talk about that. So let's talk about first, and then go back to Chick-fil-A. What does Chick-fil-A do? I mean, I'm gonna piss off Chick-fil-A. They're a chicken sandwich. That's really all they are. All right. And so, I mean, you can get a chicken sandwich anywhere. Yeah, granted, it may be not organic, but it's a chicken sandwich. What do they do differently than anybody else? Why does everybody come up with Chick-fil-A?
They say my pleasure, and they're really intentional in how they train. I would say is the real thing, and
You know that for sure, or you think that? You think they train? And or is it because you know that for sure? I don't know if you've ever been through their training or not, have you known anybody that worked for Chick-fil-A?
well, it's just
I've never met
Counted
anybody
a few.
that
it's
worked.
just
Okay.
yeah, it's a well-known thing
Oh, it is, that they
on the
do a lot of
internet.
training?
You'll just see videos of what they'll tell you to do. Like there's also joke videos where it's the guy doesn't say my pleasure. And then he's getting kidnapped, and then some new worker shows
I've
up.
seen
yeah,
that before. Yeah. Okay. I remember that. All right. So.
And he's like, my pleasure.
Okay, so is it just my pleasure? Is that what
That's
makes
what
them
it's
step
known
out?
for the most,
Right.
for sure.
Okay, so is it
I would
just saying
say-
my pleasure? Why
No,
wouldn't every company
They're
say my
smiling
pleasure
though.
then?
They are smiling.
They're
They
smiling?
walk up.
Okay.
They're saying, what can I get for you today? And then they'll happily they're patient. You never see them be like, okay. If you go to Chipotle and you say I want some extra beans, they'll be like, okay. Sometimes, right? Sometimes you'll get good Chipotle.
It's not
employees,
memorable,
some not.
is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Again, I
exactly.
made that's the second time I've made that statement: being memorable or not memorable. So just because you ask for extra beans and they pour extra beans is transactional, not really relational, not really memorable. So okay, so they smile. What I've heard you say.
Yep.
They'll ask you questions.
Yep.
All right. What else?
I've got two things. One would be
Go.
they come to you generally, right? If you go through the drive-through, or even if you do the mobile,
There's somebody
order,
standing out.
there's somebody walking to your car
You're
to take
right.
your order.
That is
A
awesome.
human being.
Yeah.
You're not
Human being
waiting
is-
to get to a window or a loudspeaker to speak at a sign to tell them what you want, for you to go pay them. It's they come to you. You're talking with a human being face to face. They got their iPad, whatever,
In the
And then-
drive-through, it's face-to-face. That's
In the drive-thru, it's
very,
face-to-face.
very unique.
Right.
That is
Very-
a huge difference
Right.
between any other fast food restaurant out
No
there.
doubt.
It's huge.
And combined with what Nolan said of good training and treating the customer nicely, it's not just a face-to-face. It's face-to-face with that added warmth, right?
yes.
So they come to you. You've
It's how they do it
order
and what they do.
face-to-face, right?
Okay.
And I would say on the back end, they're all closed on Sundays, which is, a personal belief of the people who started it. But think about it, even just logistically, everyone has a guaranteed day off.
Mm-hmm.
They're not over scheduling out. I know people who work in retail and fast food sometimes work 10 days straight just because of the way that the schedules line up. And that's a long time to work,
Sure.
So a guaranteed rest day, I think, is huge for your workers. You always are guaranteed that day off. And you can kind of plan around that.
Yeah.
100% look at the car business, right? As many places in the United States, they had to go to the blue laws, right? The blue laws was what made forced dealerships to close on Sunday. Now that's not everywhere. I think California and New York, there's still places that are still open on Sundays. But think about it, and I know there's dealers in that area, car dealers that will close on Sundays just because they want to do exactly what you're talking about. There's others that are not. They choose, and they don't give that extra day of rest, but they'll do it sometime during the week. They'll be flexible, but I see what your point. You're taking care of your own employees as well, and giving them. I always had a kick out of it though is that in Atlanta, their football stadium is called the Chick-fil-A Stadium. And when do most professional football games get played?
Sunday, yeah.
And what does not open on Sundays?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. I always got a kick out of that. Can't get a Chick-fil-A sandwich in Chick-fil-A Stadium on Sunday during a football game. I always got a kick out of that. I don't know why, but it's kind of ironic.
Hey, they got a Thursday game.
Well, they do have Thursday night games
good.
and Monday night games. Hey,
And
they
Monday,
have.
yep.
All right,
You could probably argue too that it creates a kind of sense of scarcity too, right? There is
little
a
bit,
day
yeah.
that you cannot
get
get Chick-fil-A.
exactly.
Hey, that's a great example actually you brought up because I think it was sometime last year, my girlfriend really wanted Chick-fil-A. And she was really excited about it, and she remembered it was Sunday. And she's like,
Oh no!
darn. So then obviously once they were open, we
Right.
had to go get
Right.
Chick-fil-A, right? It went from it'd be cool, like yeah, I kind of want it to
Right.
like, oh, I really want it.
I
now.
can't have it now. I want it more.
Exactly.
That's great.
It works pretty well.
Yeah, that's really, really good. So Chick-fil-A is a great example. Humans coming out and actually being involved in the order, even though it's a drive-through, which is I think a very special touch for them. And you made sure that my pleasure, and I think you're right. I've heard as well that the Chick-fil-A folks go through some intense training before they wait on customers. So I think it's a great.
And I actually want to say one more thing about the humans in the drive-through.
Yeah.
You've got the people coming up to your car, but then when you get to the drive-through, it's a giant door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a window. Their whole body is coming
is
out
out.
A whole
to hand
person.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not just like reaching out a window. If they're, I don't know. There has to be
And what
some
you're
kind of
saying-
psychological thing.
I was
So
gonna
they
say, 'cause
present your
there's-
entire self to give you the food.
You're saying
they're
that's
going
the-
through slightly more friction to give me my food.
Right.
It's harder
Right.
for them.
Right.
And in a way, it makes me appreciate
Yeah.
it more. Right. It's like you've worked harder for this.
And you're saying that's not by accident.
Oh no, I think it's on purpose. I'm just saying
100% agree with
psychologically.
you.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. Somebody that's looked at their process and said, and with the intent of making it memorable, that's the changes they made. I think it's fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous examples. Now, you both had Chick-fil-A. I had the gas station. Let's talk a little bit about that and compare that to the Chick-fil-A. I go most everything's self-serve, obviously, around the world, right? Around the country at least. Where you go and you pump your own gas and you go, okay, well, how is that gas station going to make itself more memorable? Now, I would tell you flat out, I would pay an extra 10, 15, 12 cents more per gallon than 4 miles down the street, right? And if I was going to the airport, for example, it didn't matter which one I stopped at. I would always stop at the same gas station. Why? Because the owner would actually, every time I pulled in, he'd walk out and say, thanks, welcome back, because after a while he knew I would always stop there. And he learned my name. He started using it, my name. Hi, Chuck. How you doing this morning? Great. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Anything I can do for you? And he literally would, at times, pull out if he saw my windshield was dirty, he'd clean my windshield. He'd take a look at my tires, making sure. He'd literally give me service at a self-service gas station. And I've never, since then, right, I've never had that happen to me at any gas station. No. But let me tell you, I spent more, and it's a small example of humans, just a guy doing the right thing through customer service, trying to help out his customers. And I continue to go back and I continue to spend more money at that place. And his, down the street was more expensive because it was a different county and there was less taxes, but I would pay the money here to do it. And it was because, and then there was a time, this was not too long ago, where I'd stopped in and nobody came out. And I went, what happened? I was personally invested in this guy.
Right.
The next time when he was there and I went, hey, what happened to you last time? And he was in the hospital. He didn't so it was interesting enough that he had this, but I missed him when it wasn't there. It's like, it got me to go back. But if I ever heard he wasn't there anymore, I'd have gone down the street and spent less money because he was the one I was vested in his business. And that was really, I think a great story. And it's a great way. I, by the way, have told that story a lot to other people around the country, just from a customer service standpoint. He was wonderful. So you had something to say?
Yeah, I was about to say that's almost bad. Like, it almost reflects bad on him that he didn't train any successor or anyone that could step in.
Good point.
Sure.
Yeah, because like now the whole business is reliant on him. Like, that's his business, but once he's gone, then it's not special and it might just fall apart. I mean, I don't know.
It might. Yeah, 100%. He should have thought, hey, that's, the next person who was filling in for him to do that, and they didn't do it. Or maybe he taught him and they didn't do it for some reason. So that's a very, very good point. So you have to have that. Not only do you have to have, I think going back to Chick-fil-A, do you have to have the right people, train them the right way. You also have to make sure the process is solid, because the process isn't a process unless it's repeatable. Right. And if you don't repeat the process, then it's not really a process, is it? Right. So he had a process, but only for himself, and it wasn't repeatable. So that was a great point.
Yeah.
What was yours? Oh, what was the name of it again?
It was Steam.
Steam.
Valve's the company, right? They're a gaming company.
Okay.
A lot of people familiar with their games. Half-Life,
Give
Team
them a
Fortress.
a shout out. What do they make? What game? Video game.
I just listed 3 of them.
Oh God, I was too busy thinking about something else.
Did they make that game though?
Which one?
Like any of these games?
Yeah.
Though? They made Counter-Strike?
Well, Counter-Strike started off as a mod, but when they got around to, I don't know exactly when they started developing, but I know with Global Offensive and now Counter-Strike 2, that's all at Valve. Dota 2 was famously a mod for Warcraft 3. They picked that up, or I guess it was Dota at the time. They made Dota 2 with the help from the original mod creator. So while they didn't develop those initially, they did develop games like Half-Life, Half-Life 2, Team Fortress 2. I mean, they've been all over the map, right? They've done a lot. Yeah.
Can we keep this real for the baby boomers out there? What the hell's a mod? So can you help me out with that? Because I'm sure there's other people watching out there that don't know what a mod is.
That's a great point. A mod is simply where somebody takes a game and then you modify it and change it in some way. Oh. And then you allow other people to download that mod, and it can change all kinds of things. You could just change
you to do that?
The look of somebody. Well, some do.
Allow
some
is a loose
it.
term.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some support it very openly and say, here's direct modding tools that allow you to modify anything in the game.
Really?
Others are like, no, don't touch our stuff. Stop it. So
it just
really depends on the developer and the publisher. And
okay, got it.
and
Okay,
sidebar.
I didn't even know they had any of that.
Maybe you don't know this, but is that where the prop hunt came from in Call of Duty?
Oh yeah.
I have to assume that someone made a mod where you could play as a prop.
Hunt, I don't know exactly where the first prop hunt started, but I was really familiar with it from Gmod.
Yep.
So Gmod was where somebody took, I think it was to the Source engine. I'm probably going to butcher some of this, which is what Valve uses to create their games. And they basically took all the assets and stuff from it and whatnot and made a little game where you could hide props on a map. And so, like, for example, if we were in this room and we were playing prop hunt, somebody could turn themselves into a pickleball paddle or racket and then hide on the shelf or something like that. And then somebody who's trying to seek tries to find them. And you try to go, okay, what did this room look like before? What's different? Where are they hiding? And you try and figure out where they are. So yeah, that is where it came from.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, the reason I call them out is that I wanted to take, we talk a lot about having people and those face-to-face interactions, but you can achieve a similar effect over software. It's probably not as strong as that face-to-face interaction,
Right.
but Valve has done 2 things that I think are phenomenal. One, they get accused a lot of having a monopoly over the purchasing space on PC games, right? So they have a vast library, just about any game you can imagine, you can purchase it from them. And everyone goes to, but a lot of other companies have tried this, right? They've created their own libraries, you can go and buy games, but everyone goes to Steam. Because Steam has more features and more content and better service than everybody else. I can find everything, I have great community features, and best of all, if I need to get a hold of somebody, I can get a hold of somebody, right? So if I have a problem and I reach out to them, Valve's going to get back to me in no time. And it's going to be a person. They're going to understand what my problem is, and they're going to solve it very quickly. I've had it happen personally where they also have very, very consumer-friendly policies as well. So, for example, any game that you buy, if you have under 2 hours playtime, you can refund it, no questions asked. So if you try a game and you go, I don't like it. You spent $100 on it, doesn't matter. You can refund it right away and you'll get your money back. So they've basically gone and said, you know, their founder, Gabe Newell's got this great line where he says, because, you know, piracy is always a big concern for a lot of media companies, right? And he says, piracy is generally a service problem first, right? Where people, they go, oh, I would like to buy this thing. Oh, I can't access it. So now I'm just going to go find an illegal way to download it or access it because I don't have any other option. Valve tries to make everything available and easy and quick, and it's just their response times and just the way that they are just personable and, you know, on your side. And that's always a big thing too, right? Because they're on your side, it feels like, every single time. It feels like, okay, they got my back. They're going to do what's in my best interest. They're going to give me a hand. And just that, especially in the digital world, being able to reach somebody, right, is just so much more powerful than just getting an automated email response or an automated message or whatever it is, you know? So they do a great job of that.
Well, that's interesting because one of the things you said is how we approached our company, and that is we swore, and will always be this way. It was with our previous companies as well. We'll never have a phone tree. You call our company, you'll get a hold of somebody. Yeah. And give us credit. Just a little while ago, we had an issue, right? We all knew we had an issue. Wasn't major. Could have been, right, if we would have let it fester for any period of time, but we fixed it within minutes. Yeah. And because somebody could pick up the phone, call us, immediately get it handled. I mean, mistakes are going to happen. Every company's going to have that. And I just don't understand why you save a little money on a receptionist or whoever's answering the phone or a support person, but you lose so many other customers. I mean, so many businesses out there are on this huge sales teams. They're selling. Why? Because their churn is so bad, right? I mean, they're losing customers and they have to outsell their churn. Why not just take care of the customers? Right? It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I'm still running into businesses today within the auto industry, outside the auto industry, that still have this major churn. And it's like, guys, why can't you fix this? Right. It shouldn't be that difficult. And it really isn't. But you have to have a mindset. The company has to be, my other one, by the way, was the Ritz-Carlton. I know that's pretty uppity, but I do love the Ritz because I walk in there and I don't care which Ritz I go to, but at least the last couple I've gone to, they go, "Hi, Mr. McGraw, thanks for coming back," right? And it's just that little thing, "Hi, Mr. McGraw, thanks for coming back," right? So, and they know me, and again, they make you feel warm and comfortable, and I think that's the goal for any business out there. At least it should be. Unfortunately, I think people take their eye off the ball and they don't focus on that, which is, again, I think they should. So that was a great exercise. Thanks, guys. I know I threw that as a curveball to you and you didn't expect it. So back to the relational and to the transactional. How did dealerships stop that, or how did businesses stop being so transactional? What's some of the keys?
Well, I wanted to make a point about friction.
Yeah, friction. Okay.
So like if it's the same process every time and it doesn't recognize all of the little things that maybe a personal relationship would recognize, well, now you have to face friction every single time. Have you ever visited us before? Yes, I have. Well, that's the 10th time you've told them that. If they already knew that, well, that's less friction, right? And then if we go to something like Steam, Valve, they have this Steam guard, so that's like how they keep you like safe and verified, basically. It's like their verification when you're logging in and everything. Okay. It is such an easy process. And there's two ways. So they removed all friction. You try to log in, they have a code available, or you can just scan the QR code. So it's like you can type in numbers or scan the QR code. And a lot of the time, you don't even need to do that. Yeah. And so,
how many times have you guys ever said this to yourselves? I find myself, especially over the last year, said this a lot. Doing business with you should not be that difficult.
I have. There have been a couple times I've literally said, "I am trying to give you money. Let me give you money."
Yeah, just don't make it so darn difficult. So I think that's what you meant by the friction. Am I read that correctly?
Yeah, like you should have to put in the minimum amount of effort, and what the company should do is, what can we learn from the first interaction that could then lower their friction for every interaction in the future. And if you minimize the friction, well, then people are literally choosing the path of least resistance by going to your store.
Right.
They don't have to do anything. That's why they want to be at your place.
Yeah.
They don't have to, you go to that hotel, welcome back, Chuck. Is this the hotel room you want? Same as last time or whatever. Well, now you didn't even have to think about what you wanted. It's already there, and they know everything that you ordered last time, and you can just do it again with no thoughts whatsoever. It's the minimum amount of resistance.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. I hate it when I have to work hard to pay people to give them money. I want to give you money. There's the need. There's the want. Just take it. And they make it so difficult to do it. It's just amazing. But we've all experienced it, which I didn't know that until right now. I said we've all experienced those things. So imagine all the people out there in the world that have experienced those same frustrations. Yeah. Companies should make it easy. And sometimes
it also makes me wonder how much money these companies have potentially lost just by somebody eventually hitting that wall and going, you know what? I don't actually want that bad.
Right.
And then walking away or going to a competitor.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, I didn't. I pushed through, but I'm sure not everyone did.
Right. I mean, the defection, that's the scary part is that, you own a business and people are defecting from you. And it's your business. These are your customers. These are your lifeblood. How do you not know that? How do you not know who the people are and why they're leaving? Because it'll never get better if you don't figure that out. And there's so many businesses out there that just don't have a clue. Yeah. They don't know why people are defecting. And because of that, they can't fix it. So very interesting. Okay.
Now there's something that are successful despite it, right? And they could probably be more successful, but they still manage to push people away.
Yeah.
And then just make do, I guess, with...
I would have said, guys, and I'm going to throw in a name out there. I think I can get away with it. Amazon was out there. We've talked about this in the past.
Who?
Amazon. Have you ever heard of them? Small little company.
Bookstore, right?
I tell you what, I'm seeing a lot of pushback on Amazon right now with a lot of people it's been frustrating about some of their processes that used to be easy. They're making it more difficult. They're making it more difficult. And I think I shared the story where I met a guy that actually knew Jeff Bezos, and he said that, Jeff had this opinion of all I did was make things simpler. All I did was to make it easy for people to do certain things and to get certain things. And from what I'm reading now, they've made it a little. I told you a couple times ago, a couple podcasts ago that I found it frustrating, calling their support if you can get a hold of somebody. And so it's the opposite of what it used to be. But I guess once you're almost a trillionaire, you don't maybe you don't care anymore. Or at least as much as you did when
Don't they make more money off their cloud services now anyway?
Yeah, they probably do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So maybe they probably do. You're right. Yeah. So that's probably less and less. So anyway, that's very fascinating. So guys, we're getting almost to the end of our podcast, so we certainly need to talk about what's the fun thing we're going to talk about today. What's the difference? Get us out of the box here.
I can actually say one more thing.
And I think it's got to be World Cup, but that's just me. Okay. But go ahead.
I don't know exactly where this fits in, but as we've been talking about this, I thought of it. And I think it kind of hints on the relationship that you have with your customers and the people that you serve. There's a guy who was a restaurateur, and his strategy, I think he was in New York. Basically, the acquisition cost of getting a new customer in the door in that location was around $2,500, like in terms of billboard advertising, Times Square, whatever. All right. His strategy was whenever you came to his restaurant as a first-time customer, he would ask, is this your first time here? Yeah. You would get this red napkin, right? Everyone else had white napkins. You get this red napkin. You feel like you're special, right? Gives you the red napkin. That signaled to the manager to come over and talk to you, like, hey, how's it going? And talk to you. We got to build a little rapport. Talks to the customer, so he writes down on his business card something about like a free. What is it? I think he got 40% off that meal that you ate that then. I'm trying to remember it now, but either way, he would give him a card for like 40% off a chicken dinner, something next time you come. So you come the next time, it's the second time they're there, right? Because you have the 20% off.
The card, yeah.
Right. So basically, that meal is a wash, right? It's basically at cost.
Right.
That's your second time there. The manager comes back over, says, "Oh, it's so good to see you again." Gives him another card, writes something on the back, free piece of cheesecake, right? So then that person comes again, gets that free piece of cheesecake, right? Obviously, they would probably spend more on the actual dinner. So they've come to your restaurant 3 times. And I think it was, I can't remember the exact statistics, but he's saying if someone comes to your restaurant once, there's like a 20 to 30% chance they're going to return. They've come 3 times. It's over 75% chance that they're going to come back to your restaurant.
Okay.
So essentially, by investing in those customers those first 3 times and giving them a reason to come back, making them feel warm and welcome, they've come 3 times, and now there's a 78% chance they're going to keep coming back, right? So point is, investing in your customers and really making them feel seen, heard, and valued, that is how you keep them, right? It's not about how cheap we can acquire new customers, is how can we adjust the quality of our service to attract those new customers to keep coming back.
I heard a similar one that I heard something like that before, but I heard a similar one where I think it was a hotel that on check-in, they'd give you just a fresh cookie, just like a warm chocolate chip cookie, right? And that was kind of their thing. Like, oh, you know, you're here. Here's a couple of fresh cookies for you, right? And then people would just, I guess, return or come back, or they would talk about the hotel highly because they just got a nice, free, unexpected gift, right? Just a fresh, warm, delicious chocolate chip cookie, and then people were just like, "Oh yeah, this is great, right? Like this is wonderful." And people would come by and just, you know, ask for chocolate chip cookies because it was like, "Oh, cool, this is awesome." It was just that small thing, right? Just a small gesture of goodwill, and suddenly there's just so much more like loyalty, and I mean, loyalty is maybe a bit of a stretch, but willingness to engage and to come back and to you know, be a potential repeat customer. You know, so it doesn't even have to be as elaborate and planned out as, okay, we're gonna have a napkin and these are gonna have these discounts, gonna miss more times. Probably you need to be a little bit more with a restaurant than maybe some other businesses, but still, I mean, you don't have to do a lot, just care.
Right.
Just do a little bit.
Yep. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's gonna order some matcha milk. No, I'm joking. He's gonna come back to your hotel. So,
And I want to go back to a point that we made earlier. That's on a $150 a night hotel. Think about what they could do with a second largest purchase of, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and sometimes they don't.
They don't.
I mean, it's just a shame that they don't, because, you know, I think they really realize, you know, they're all caught up in their own world. They forget what the customer's going through. And if you're not looking at it from their point of view, then you got a real problem. And that's how you make it better for people, is look at it from their point of view. So, all right, let's talk World Cup.
World Cup.
all right. Do you want to hold on before?
Whoa, I'm not
before
talking
we
about
predict?
a home run derby last night.
No, I'm
We're
not going to
talking-
do that.
I knew you were going to go there.
That was not where I was going.
I thought
Not
you
even
were.
remotely.
All right, because who
Where
won
were
the
you going
home
with
run derby? Say it.
Jordan Walker.
All right, there you go.
I wasn't going to go there.
From
but
your favorite
now that
baseball
he
team. I
set
got
me
it.
up, but no.
Go Sox. Come on. Go
I
Chicago.
was going to say, like, were you going to just have us like predict who's going to win or something like that?
I would something like that. Yeah, that's
so
what I was thinking.
I was thinking we change it. What do we think about the refs and the VAR and like why is there added time that they just make up when they have all the technology to call offsides by someone's, you know, elbow tip? Like, if the technology is there for that, why can they not get an exact timer in the game? You know, like, what about soccer? Why do people enjoy just the ref getting that leeway with the added time?
That's a great question. To be frank, I haven't watched a lot of. I've watched a lot of World Cup, but I haven't watched a lot of soccer over the years. And you know, my kids played soccer, but you know, so I do love the sport. Don't know if I love it as much as the Europeans do, but I do love the sport, and it's great. I think there's just that, you know, flexibility I think they want to give. I would be my guess, you know, that they don't want to go automated in everything that you do, even though, I mean, look at, we've got in football, our football, right here in the States, we've got every camera angle possible. You got, you know, you could call every penalty you want, right? But they don't. Why are there referees? Same thing. I think they don't want to get that. They want to keep that out of the game, you know, and give some of the refs some of that flexibility is only thing I can guess. But you guys probably have a better idea.
No, to be honest,
Well,
I watched the World Cup. Right, that's my general relationship with soccer. Is I will not watch it. I don't watch MLS. I don't watch Premier League. I don't watch any league soccer. I'll maybe maybe watch other international tournaments a little bit, but generally I just watch the World Cup, right? So your question is an excellent question, and I have no idea how soccer fans generally feel about it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a big enough fan where, for me, partially, I guess, as a extreme casual fan, I'll go, I like the
Extremely casual.
extremely casual. I like the human element of the ref, just kind of
There you go.
deciding it, right? But you're right. Maybe they should be more mechanical about it and track that, because, like you said, they could do it.
Yep.
I assume
Keep in
they
mind,
could.
that's a mathematician graduate that's asking that question. I just
Yeah,
want to
it's a
point
very-
that
it
out.
was a very,
University
logical
of Michigan
deduction of-
mathematician grad asking the question about that particular one. I will tell you the best time I've ever had, in one of my best times ever, in a local pub was in Scotland. I happened to walk in, and I don't think I shared that story. I walk into this pub. It was always my dream to get drunk in a Scottish pub. I happened to be in Scotland, so I said, "Hey, let's go in and have a couple
Dreams
pints."
do come true.
And so dreams do come true. Absolutely. Who needs Disney? So I'm walking into this pub. Next thing you know, we're sitting there. We've got the best table in the house. Got TVs everywhere. It's like, oh, this is pretty cool. But the place was all. Next thing you know, people starting filling in. It's like, what? I mean, people started coming in. I don't know, Tuesday afternoon. I don't know, whatever. People start walking in. Next thing you know, it's like the whole place is full. I didn't realize that it was two local soccer clubs were facing off that day, and it was like 50-50 down the middle. Half the team wanted this team, half the people in the club wanted this team,
that is
half the team
electric.
wanted this.
Yeah,
It
that'd
was
be so
electric,
fun.
man.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
that's cool.
And there was a goal. I mean, these guys were going at it. Oh, very nice. There was no fights or anything like that,
Right.
but they were just going at it, ribbing everybody. It was just a ball. So
Did you pick a side?
God, no. I said right down the middle. I literally had them on both sides. I wasn't going that way. I'm from America.
Yeah.
So I guess Mike kept saying, no. Go,
of
guys.
both
I mean,
worlds.
we kept kind of quiet, but it was so much fun to watch. Just the interaction that's going on. I can see why. I mean, that's their sport, right? And I can see why it was just so fascinating.
That's my absolute favorite thing about bowl games. So like your
Oh,
team will
yeah.
get invited
Yeah.
to a bowl game or the Big Ten championship or whatever.
sure.
You'll go. Let's say it's the Big Ten championship. Half of them are Iowa fans, half of them are Michigan fans, and Michigan will be the heavy favorites. So then you'll get some cocky fans. When the upset starts to happen, like one bad play started at the start of one of these Big Ten championships, Michigan threw an interception or something. Iowa goes up 3-0. Then that crowd starts to get loud, and you
Yeah.
can feel like the energy shift. Like once let's say Michigan pulled ahead because that's what happened in real life. Then you get.
You had to say
The-
that, of
you
course.
know,
You had to
yeah.
say
You
that.
had them like just the crowd
For
goes
the
insane
record.
on your
For the
side,
record, yes.
and this happened at the national championship, happened at the Rose Bowl. Like the Rose Bowl was a great example because Alabama fans are the cockiest that you can get because they've won so
Can we
much.
say that?
Well, that's the
We
thing.
just did say that.
We
I
did
guess.
say that.
They
yeah.
are
He
good.
said that.
That's
He
true.
said that. That's
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Alabama fans, I'll give you his number.
They're
You can
also
contact
very,
him.
very friendly. Okay, I want to be clear.
Oh, good
All right.
comeback.
welcome back.
They're
No.
cocky, but they're friendly. Ah,
No,
wait a
like
minute.
they
I never
believe
hand
they're
the
going to
hand.
win, but they're going to be very nice to you while they do it. That's not the same as some of the other fan
That's
bases.
Southern nice, man. That's
Yeah.
exactly.
Bless your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. bless their.
Anyway, but just the roar of the two fan bases, like in
Yeah.
groups against each other in the same place, like that is awesome.
I have to admit, I really do appreciate the World Cup this year and how the United States embraced not only all the people coming over, but just embraced the game. I just love watching, when the Americans were playing. Unfortunately, before they got knocked out, it said you looked at the stands and the crowds were going crazy for the U.S. I really appreciate what they did and how they welcomed everybody. I think it was a good point for the United States. We welcomed everybody to a national stage, and I think in most cases, with the exception of tipping, I think they most
Yeah.
Europeans like being here.
Yeah, but
All right,
we
so-
don't even like tipping, so
Yeah.
feel you,
Yeah, good point.
Europeans.
Yeah, so
it
go
sucks.
go Europeans.
Yeah.
All right, so okay,
Do we want to pick
I
them
think
now? Is that
so.
what we're
Let's
doing?
go on the record right now.
Who's even left?
So Spain versus France is today.
Right.
And then we have England versus Argentina. Oh,
Correct.
by the way, just quick side note on Argentina. I feel like they've been the ones. I think there's a lot of fans of Argentina. That might be wrong, but Messi being one of the biggest names
There
in,
are a lot of
in the
Argentinians.
world.
Are you trying to influence what our decision is going to be?
No,
It sounds like
I'm-
you are.
I'm trying to just make a different point about the refs given that leeway. Because think about like the Chiefs, they get a lot of favorable calls in the NFL.
You're calling out Kansas City?
I'm calling out the NFL as an organization. I am saying
He's calling
they
out Kansas City.
Alabama, Kansas City, now the entirety of
Yeah.
the NFL. We are really
Wow.
escalating.
I'm not sure how many people are going to. I hope this is one video I
yeah.
hope most people don't view.
Well, they'll do it. Whatever.
I reprimand all organized sports.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying they give the refs that leeway, and I think the league benefits from a profitability standpoint from that ref leeway, and that's why they won't add these more strict, ways of calling the game, because the Chiefs make you a lot of money. Let's just be honest.
Make the NFL a lot of money.
Yeah, and
okay,
Argentina
got it.
makes FIFA a lot of money. And if you saw the end of their games, when they were in that close game against Cape Verde, and Cape Verde is never going to make the FIFA any money. The second they hit the end of extra time, like right at the dot, the extra time was over, and Argentina was winning. They blew it dead. They ended the game immediately. And usually they give the team a chance if they have the ball and they're pushing forward.
Right.
They let them finish the possession.
finish it, yeah.
They just ended the game immediately. They were like, Argentina wins. They didn't want to risk
think it's
the money.
a little rigged then,
I
is
think
what I'm hearing
there's a
you
little
say.
bit of like a little bit of
hey,
here's
I
your
happen to
instructions.
like-
You're going to call a fair game. But if it's the end of the game, it's the end of the game with
I
Argentina.
do think that if you're
there's a
the
little bit of that.
underdog, generally you have to win pretty convincingly,
Yeah.
right?
That
You
makes
gotta win, or else stuff like that can happen to you.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Who do you like?
So Spain versus France.
Who's
This
your overall?
is the tougher one.
Okay.
That's the one everyone says might just be the championship decider. is
Yeah.
Spain versus France.
Spain is a team, and I really like that about them. I think like they move the ball better. They're like very organized.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in their young guy. I don't think what's his name? It's not a good look.
It's not a good look.
Really
Well,
bad.
no, like I said, I'm an extreme casual fan, so
He's
for
one
me,
of the most well known. Yamal,
Yeah,
I believe that's his name.
think
Okay. So
Anyway,
Anyway.
I
this
don't
is a pretty
think he's
simple question.
scoring.
Who do you want to win though? Who do you think's going to win the World Cup? And you're keep
Yeah.
telling me about all the teams.
So it's a good team
get
atmosphere.
it.
I think Spain could find a way to win it.
do you
but
have okay?
I'm
is he
picking
gonna get it?
France
Is he-
because
thinking
just
the
from
whole thing.
just between those two.
I want to know who's going to
I'm
win the whole
breaking down
thing.
the bracket. There's two
I,
sides.
you don't need to break
That
down
wasn't the question.
This is the question.
I don't know.
Just not
he wants
listening.
to
He's like a lot of
analyze it.
companies out there. He just doesn't listen to his
Oh
customers.
my goodness.
All right.
You're not like us.
Who do you think?
Technical questions.
Who do you think's going to win?
So France makes it out of that side, and then here on this side we have England versus Argentina.
He can't help himself.
No, he
can
can't help
He's-
I don't think
We're not
Argentina-
gonna
He's
lie
an
about
OCC. All right.
analysis.
OCZ. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I'll play some pickleball.
There you go.
Retire.
right.
Okay.
Oh, so you think
I'm
France
going
out
with
of one.
England on that side.
Okay.
just
France
because,
versus England finale.
Yes, I
And
just
you- and
don't
you
think
think-
Argentina has it
And you
this
think
year.
France?
It's
Say it. Say it.
I'm gonna go France because it's America's 250, and France helped us beat England,
Okay.
and I think that would be really funny.
There you go.
That would be
I don't
really
know how you
funny.
put those two
I don't-
things together,
hey,
but all right. Very simple. Who do you think's going to win?
One question: Can you
Yes.
tie?
no.
But you thought you could tie.
In like the group stages,
No, you
yeah,
can't.
You cannot tie in.
No.
The,
But once you're in the
They'll
knockout
go to
stages,
shootouts. They'll shoot, penalty shots until somebody wins. Spit it out.
I was
Come
going to
on.
say a tie. I'm going to go Spain.
Spain.
I
Whoa.
was going to
Alright.
say between Spain and Argentina. I was going to say they're going to tie. That was
Okay.
my original, but
I know who you're going.
You know where I'm going.
He's
Absolutely.
going. You're going. Want to say
I'm
it?
going England.
England.
Yeah, I randomly decided back in 2010 to be an England fan, and I'm sticking with that for no real reason. So let's go England.
Nobody beats Messi.
So we all went with different
All
teams.
different
I like
teams.
that. That's
All
awesome.
right.
so someone's
There
going
you
to
go.
win.
Someone's gonna win.
So yeah,
Next
think-
podcast is bragging rights.
I think Argentina's like the
Reverse
lowest
bragging rights.
chance to
Why
win this.
reverse?
I would agree with
I would
that.
hammer like against Argentina.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we'll see what
Argentina.
happens.
All right, guys.
Messi-
Let's. You want to wrap this up?
we can talk later.
Yeah. Well,
You want something to say?
No.
He's got something to say.
No,
What was it?
I was just going to engage Noah a little bit more on how Argentina, I think, is the least likely to win. But again, we can have that discussion
got
off
it.
podcast.
all right.
offline.
Yes.
Spain versus France is in 1 hour in real life. By the time this is uploaded, one of us looks really stupid. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the MCT Podcast.